I want to go into a little bit of where I've come from and then talk about where we're going and what I've heard over these past few days and how that, I think, will deeply impact my own future and probably all of yours as well. So by way of some introduction, I'm the co-founder of a political blog. It's called Jack and Jill Politics. It's a black-oriented political blog. You'll notice that a watermelon is our logo. The watermelon obviously symbols intelligent political discourse. It's been known to symbolize that for 3,000 years. If you think it means something else, you have issues that need to be investigated. I've been to the future. I hosted a television program. I hosted Popular Science's Future Of on the Discovery Channel 3 years ago. It was great. I got to travel around the world. I got to interview scientists and play with their gadgets and their software. And I learned a number of facts about the future. Fact number one, black people will be there. This is great news, great news. I wasn't sure based on the sci-fi for a while. I was like, you trying to tell me something? Like, I'll just leave. Like, you don't have to be such a passive-aggressive dick with your fiction. Fact number two, black people will be required to wear wetsuits. That's the compromise. So it's a trade-off. You can't get everything. It's partial freedom, I'll take it. I worked for 4.5 years at The Onion as started off as politics editor, web editor, director of digital. My main job was to lunge across desks toward camera lenses, and I was very good at that. Sticking my tongue out was an extra twist, and that was a lot of fun. And I wrote this book. It's called How to Be Black. It's got a very simple marketing message. We heard a lot about authenticity and marketing. This is the most authentic message that I could imagine for the book. If you don't buy it, you right there with the smile. Yes, you're racist. Fortunately, many have opted out of racism. The book is a New York Times bestseller, so guilt sells, at least insofar as the New York Times calculations are concerned. So I want to talk a little bit about my own experiments and history with making ideas happen. It was fun to think about this, to do a bit of a different talk. And I am the type of dude that thinks I can do everything. I'm a Virgo. I'm a mild perfectionist. And I'm like, if it can be done, I can probably figure it out and just do it myself. You don't have to bother asking other people and then having them maybe not come through for you. So I always thought of getting things done as like inspiration plus just sheer willpower. And with enough willpower and energy exertion, it'll get done. And the first real deep example I had of this was in high school. We had a vending machine on the ground floor of the upper school, and they charged 75 cents for a can of soda, which was 1% rapacious capitalism at its worst. And so I decided that I was going to buy sodas in bulk and undercut the vending machine and sell sodas for 50 cents. I went one step further. We heard a lot about customer experience, and so one of the things I did is I got a big igloo that I borrowed from the men's locker room, the big Gatorade type thing, and I just traveled around all day with sodas. So if you're on the third floor between classes, you don't go all the way downstairs to get stiffed by the man. You can support this man and get a discount to boot. Like, it was a win-win-win, except for that vending machine owner. So that was like literally lugging sodas around school all day. Lots of sheer willpower in that. A couple years ago, I did a performance art experiment online. During the height of the swine flu scare, I created a swine flu Twitter account and basically embodied the swine flu as an angry but adorable pig. And so the beauty was, not only was I posting as a swine flu, celebrating my arrival in new countries, asking for advice, restaurants or temples to visit, but I also kind of used Twitter in a fun way, and I was like, I would look at the swine flu hashtag, see people who expressed, say, a fear of contracting the swine flu. I would follow those people. And that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. At the time, Twitter had a default setting, so they would get an email saying you're being followed by the swine flu. It was all for me. Just solo inspiration and willpower. And I defeated the real swine flu. It was Twitter that did it. And then I believe in giving back, to the public. I've been given so much by mentors, by my community, by my mother. And there is a series of really atrocious literature out there. It's called Twilight. And it is really the undoing of the American experiment through so-called novels. And so what I do when these films are released, I go to the premiere weekend, I sit at the back with my laptop and a wireless connection, and I live hate tweet the movie, which is to say I live tweet the movie. The hate's just built in. And again, that's just that solo effort. I ask questions that people may not ask. You know, if Bella has sex with Jacob, is that bestiality? And can she be prosecuted? Like, this is a good legal question. You know, where's cable news on the analysis, you know? And I've also helped prevent people from falling into the trap of spending money on this movie. So if you can reach just one person, I feel like a teacher sometimes. But again, the scale is so limited. It's just me trying to do this all kind of by myself. Now, teamwork was a new twist. When I joined The Onion, I went through 4 levels of interview to get this job. And one of their concerns was, you're a stand-up comic, you're a blogger, you've done all these individual arts. Can you work with others and get things done there? Now, how's your ego gonna be when they say you're not funny? When they want to improve your joke in ways you never thought that are not your ideas. And I had the benefit of a summer of improv comedy in Chicago at the I.O., and I had enjoyed the joy of actually building with other people. And so I basically spun that answer. I was like, oh, I want to say yes and to everything. It's going to be great. And for those who were in Charlie Todd's class, there you go. But it worked, and I fooled them. It was a different challenge, and I came in with this mandate, but no internal support. I was this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed dude hired in at an editor level, which is not the standard way. You start as an intern, you scrap away, you're a writing fellow, you're a contributor, you wait for a writer to die, you show up on the day they die. Hopefully, like, you're not the one that gets the job. And so I came and I'm like, guys, we're gonna change politics and do this. And the comedy writers are not like always the most loving people in the world, and they were burned out from doing the Our Dumb World book, and they just kind of looked at me like, what? And I had spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations because I've been a consultant, a strategy consultant, so I was really good at PowerPoint. And it took some months. What I actually did, I did this first 100 days type program, and I went out to lunch with everybody that would, including the interns, to kind of learn the system that had been in place and worked well for 2 decades before I showed up to rescue them from their success. And then with the editor and I worked together and built a system to create War for the White House, which was our 2008 coverage of the campaign. And since then, I've moved on to spread blackness around the world through How to Be Black. And again, that was a team effort. Like, writing a book, you might be able to do it solo, but getting people to read it, much more difficult. I hired someone. I hired a guy, Craig Cannon. He was actually around earlier today, a young 22-year-old white dude helping me sell blackness. It's beautiful. I call him White Shadow. And he helped coordinate a lot of our activities. We built a virtual street team and used them for like beta testing ideas and got people to buy in and treat it as a movement and sent them early copies of the book and do all sorts of live events and things like that. And just, obviously the publisher, my management, other people were involved, the editor and a lot of friends. And that was a big evolution for me of kind of letting things go a bit more. I did an experiment where I wrote a lot of the book in public. I did this radical transparency experiment, and people could watch my screen. This is what one of the viewers said while I was writing this book. He said, my girlfriend is Chinese, I'm half Jamaican, half regular black. I guess our kids are gonna end up Dominican or something. And that's an amazing statement for many reasons. First of which, regular black. And I kind of want to unpack that a little bit. Unpack is a new word they say on cable news a lot, and it's corrupted my language. But it just makes me think of like Diet Black or Black Zero, Black Clear, like the failed experiment from Pepsi. And then the idea that your kids will end up Dominican, like he's obviously making a statement about demographics and race and intermingling, but I like to think that his kids are actually gonna end up Dominican and like love baseball and plantains, just like really be in it to win it. So that brings us to now. Oh, there's one more point. One of the things I tried to do at The Onion, I got really obsessed with process, I think to an extreme degree, because I was like, I like tech and I like tech tools. Let's just throw a bunch of stuff. You guys remember Google Sites? Right. So I was the customer. and like the customer. And I deployed this like an internal wiki system built on Google Apps. Like, we're going to run our whole election process through this. I was the only one using it, and then even I stopped using it. And so just a valuable quick insight, like just because you're using tools doesn't mean you're actually building things. Be not obsessed with those. So let's get to what I have learned today and about the future. There's a couple, many more than a couple. There are several that I want to focus on. And I want to make it a little personal because I am moving into this new phase of my own life, staying in comedy, but thinking about what's next. And thinking about building institutions that use comedy in new ways. And I wanted to talk about what we've heard and basically take that advice and apply it to my own next attempt to make ideas happen. First of all, Rilla, a wonderful presentation. From Rilla, I think I plan to use adorable sketches that are very emotional, that make you maybe cry, like Up. A lot of those pictures are very deep. Kill off some of my ideas. And when I feel bad about it, just eat chocolate. Just eat lots and lots of chocolate. I was speaking to Rilla backstage. Her father's name is Bruce Wayne. True story. So I'm going to do whatever Batman's daughter tells me to. I learned a lot from the 10-type photography. First of all, makes me a lot blacker, which is on brand for me. Like, that works for me. Makes some people more suspicious, makes me sell more books. I like it. I like it. I was intrigued by the notion that sort of expiring or single-use objects still have value, but I want more people to experience this. So I'm going to make a 10-typography iPhone app. It's basically one filter. You take a picture, you apply the filter, and then your iPhone self-destructs. Single use. It also powers the atom-based economy we were hearing about earlier. She had to replace that iPhone, so that's pretty good. We'll get all potential mayors of New York City to endorse it so we can succeed. Hat tip to Paula Scher for the High Line. That'd be good. That's everybody in New York endorses it. Jonah Lehrer blew my mind in very disturbing ways. I'm going to become a Tibetan monk so I can focus on not being focused. I'll occasionally snort Ritalin. I'm going to eat lots of grits and then tell people to kiss them. And Jonah said something that was very powerful. He said, how can you know something when you don't actually know it? I will never ask myself that question again for fears that it would lead to a brain aneurysm. I like my brain. I like my brain. Also, we talked a lot about underwear and how we get used to it and how it's not scratchy enough. I'm going to change my underwear every day. That's my vow. You talk about companies versus cities and how companies die every 45 years, average Fortune 100 company. Cities thrive because they're uncontrolled and things happen. So I'm going to make my company grow like a city. I'm going to let all my employees pee wherever they want. Wherever you want. Be like the greatest city in the world. Smell like urine every day. Then change your underwear. Teresa's got me inspired to start journaling and celebrating the small victories. For example, this week I was on a conference call with a client and I did not curse him out. And that was a very small victory. I think it's my superpower, actually, not cursing out clients. I want to take this opportunity to get a round of applause for the volunteers who have helped put this thing together. All the orange shirts, great. I've been a geek for a very long time. Everybody I know has some sort of corrective vision, but I met a volunteer named Monica who has 20/20 vision. That's a superpower. I just want to celebrate that. That's a superpower. Keith talked a lot about the superpower thing and how you can find it anywhere except the shower. And I felt like that was a bit oppressive because my other superpower is taking showers. And I just feel like it's a little discriminatory. I'm not excited about that. One, the company's going well. I will hire a French person to disagree with everything we say, so that was pretty cool. Alexis from Reddit. We had a couple of Alexi here at this conference. I'm going to use cute logos. That's going to be really fun. And I'm going to have Rilla draw them because her father's Batman. And then we had a great conversation earlier today from Alexis and Pia. And what I want to do, they inspired me to kind of want to build a diverse founding team that helps educate people about AIDS and HIV in the most high-quality way. And right at the edge of success, we're interrupted by a fire alarm. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. The denim dude disturbed me. And deeply. And I think I saw something that maybe many of you missed. That's another superpower I have. He said, and I quote, "The way I design is machine-driven, not style-driven." So when Skynet takes over, we have the obsessive genes guy to blame for that, not Miles Dyson at all. Neil and Jen, we had a great conversation over here. I'm going to start Netflix riots. I think that's a great idea. I think we should take to the streets for things that matter. We're going to have a wild budget for our employees where they can buy the customers clean underwear. And that's going to be really great. And Tony, just a few moments ago, talked about frustration and how that's a great inspiration for products and for solutions. And one of the things that has frustrated me for a long time, I travel a lot. I'm engaged in retail a lot because I'm a good American. And lines. We don't do lines well. Make some noise if you've been to the Union Square Whole Foods. Clap if... That is the most efficient line in the world. It's like a German line, basically. It's really good at like getting people to like pay for their stuff. And I come in, and when I go to whether it's Dwayne Reed or TSA or Customs, and you have people, individuals choose which line they go to, and you're playing this weird internal math algorithm, and you're like, well, okay, she has a baby, I don't know, and oh, well, I saw that movie with George Clooney. He says Asians move slow. Is that racist? I don't know if I should do that. And well, that guy looks like he's going to be held up because he's brown, and they're going to question him extra. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. There should be one line, and then you get distributed from a single point like a mux, you know what I'm saying, like a switch. We solved this. The internet's based on that. We don't choose. It's so dumb. So my company's going to solve that. It's going to be great. And once we've gotten to this point where we've got this magical system, we're using comedy to change the world, we fixed the lines, we've got exploding iPhones, I'm going to change everything and just say, fuck it. Like my mentor, Jonathan Adler, advised us. I'm going to raise millions of dollars and pivot heavily right after I cash the check. And my new business is going to be great. It's going to be great because it taps into so much of what a business needs. It's my passion. It's authentic. It's got a big market opportunity. I'm going to find everyone named Jackie Rice. I'm going to say, fuck you, Jackie Rice. I make pottery. What? The soundtrack for the business will be a soundscape of Lisbon. And if it doesn't work out, we can just pretend it didn't happen, move to Pittsburgh, and engineer vicariously, hopefully winning an Alva in the process. Thank you very much.